Hi, Yann Yann.
Hi,
Thank you for taking this interview with me.
no
I,
worries. Good to
first,
see you.
good to see you too, even virtually. I miss Singapore so much.
Yeah, come back.
Soon, I will. First, what I need to tell you is my family here, they're huge fans of ABC. We literally binge watched it in 2 days.
I'm so glad.
And we have questions today, and these questions actually were questions that my family help come up with because they're like, no, they're like, you have to ask this question, and I'm like, oh my gosh, you're really into this.
That's fantastic. Fantastic. I'm so glad because ABC is my first project in the USA, and I'm so happy, and I feel so lucky to be in such a great team. We really call them a great team. It's
It's
lucky.
it's so if it's an honor to see so many talents in this series, like
Yeah.
from like the directing to the actors to the process to the storytelling, everything is amazing. So Yin Yin, can you tell me about ABC and tell me about your character?
ABC is a show. It's actually about Jin Wang. Jin Wang, the little boy who's going through his growing pain, and he's American-born Chinese. And while he was going through all his trials, this mythical world just barged into his life, into his family life, into his his growing up process. And so all these magical things just started to happen around him. And hopefully through these trials, he could find himself and where his place in the world. Yeah. And
Well,
I'm playing Christine, Jin Wang's mother in the show. She's a mother, an Asian representative mother that seldom seen being portrayed in the Western TV shows because she's warmer, she's humorous, she's kind, and she's soft. Not towards the husband that much, but to the son, I must say. That's a lot of mother that I've seen actually. So it's a kind of and she's been very careful with how to deal with Jin's relationship, and it's very obvious that two of them grew up with very different background, very different culture. But she's trying so hard to understand her son, and she gets worried sometimes. She's not perfect though. She's not a perfect mother, but she tried her best. Yeah.
I think you represent a lot of Asian mothers. When I was watching it, it's like it reminded me a lot about my upbringing and being a full grown adult now, I understand it. But obviously when you're a teen, you don't understand. It's like a lot of it's a lot of this, you feel there's a lot of strictness and you don't quite understand or grasp it. But when you grow older, you kind of understand everything, how it all kind of comes into play. Um, Playing this character, do you find parallels to your own parenting? Did you bring some of your own parenting into this character?
I am a mother myself. I have an 11-year-old who's turning into a teenager right now. I try. I really try to understand how my daughter thinks and um, how to put things to her without letting her feel the pressure. I think this comes from what I did want to look like my mother. It's really pretty much going to the opposite way that I hope I dream of having a mother who is having a relationship like a friend with me. So, well, part of it I draw from my own experience. Part of it I draw from the observations to the women that I met, the women that I grew up with, my mom, my aunts, my all the women around, women in the villages, and women on the newspaper, people I saw on the street, people I talked to. I think all this is an actor's precious stuff that you put in your pocket all the time. I mean, the observation of human life is part of our work. So yeah, partly my own experience, partly from
So
observation.
it's like a mix of the observations and your own experiences that you brought into the character as well.
Totally, totally. I can never um, stay away from very close or be similar like the character. I think all of us have like maybe thousands or millions of colors on us. It's just that when you play a character, different colors comes out. I think that's how I feel.
What pros and cons do you find when it comes to the Asian parenting, the Asian discipline? Do you feel it's overwhelming, or it can kind of drive a child the wrong way, or do you think it's the right way to teach your child discipline?
I think it really depends on every child. I think every child comes with their own characteristic, and also at the same time, they're actually learning from how we behave as adults. We actually learn quietly, observing. I mean, that's our human nature that we observe and we mimic and we learn and we grow. So I think the best thing to do for a child is to improve yourself instead of putting the hope onto your child for them to improve themselves. I think in a way they really, really, I mean, we were child before. We know how we grow. We know how we learn. We actually learn without learning. We learn by submerging into the way of life in the family and how we behave and how the parents behave. So I think in a way it is really we got to be stricter to ourselves instead of be stricter to our kids in a way.
So it's like it's two ways. As parents, you need to be well aware of yourself, and especially the
Yeah,
times and everything. I mean, like in the storyline, basically, you see how the arc towards the end, how Jin really uses what he was taught. He might not have gotten it like earlier on, but then it just becomes an epiphany for him, especially the
yeah,
last episode, like when he has
yeah.
that flashback.
Yeah, I remember when we were filming that, actually, at the first few takes, I actually cried. Um, there's so much tears. I think the set was silent, you know, and later on, our crew members and our cast members came over and said, "How I wish my mother said that." And I was like, "Yeah, me too." I think
Well,
it rings a bell in everybody's heart of that
yeah,
word.
yeah.
Just be yourself, trust in yourself. It's
I think
something.
that's why it's resonated so well, because there's so many moments in the series where you can feel it.
Yeah,
It's such an eclectic and such a tight um, pool of actors, and it's just amazing how like there's so much warmth, there's so much underlying teachings in it. I want to talk about this scene, the principal scene, because I
yeah,
feel that's such a key scene where you and Shin Han were faced with the stereotypes.
yeah.
How can you share with me how you felt in that moment, in that character, in that scene?
I think I would say I think Christine wasn't thinking too much into being stereotyped. And in a way, Christine is a mother who is protecting her son,
Mm,
mother who is standing on her son's side. I think this is something um, even I have to learn it. You have to learn how Christine deal with the situation when someone is questioning your son, someone's questioning your son's behavior. Um, I think I think sometimes you remember when we were kids, when we get scolded in school, or we would go home and we get scolded twice. It's
so
just
it's just
that
like,
kind
yeah,
of
you get
feeling.
both sides of it.
Yeah, yeah. It's that kind of feeling that you let your child understand that we're always on your side. Yeah. probably the scolding comes later, when she walked out of the room and said that, you know what, we got to talk about this at home.
Yeah.
When we're in front, when we're facing this pressure coming from outside, and the first thing is, I think the mother's instinct is to trust the child.
Yeah, I
It's
agree.
unbelievable for Christine at that point that my son is in such bad state. She couldn't believe that. And she decided to stand on his side. And she gets even more mm, happy or settled in her heart that her husband is actually standing on her side.
Yeah, that was very strong.
Yeah, during all this turmoil that's happening between this couple, she always thought that he's opposed on whatever she thinks or whatever he says. And at that point he said that, I think it really hits Christine's heart that her husband is still the same guy that she knew and the same guy she married. Yeah.
It was a full circle moment because the during this kind of dance between the husband and the wife, where she doesn't recognize him for the
Yeah.
person that she met, and then the full circle where when he stands up for her in that moment. It was such a beautiful moment to see Shin Han stand up in his character for you.
I think the follow up, the following scene when she said, "It's great that someone believed in me. I wanted, it's great." I think at a time she melted that because finally her husband believed in her.
Yeah.
And he's still questioning her decision on doing the business, but she's able to reveal how she really feels. And that's difficult for a couple's journey to be able to speak out and really talk things out. I think the couple's journey was a really magical one to me too.
I agree. I felt there was so much growth in the separate relationships, the mother and the son, the father and the son, the husband and the wife,
Yeah.
uh, the friends. If there's so many elements and relationships that was happening, that there was a lot of truth in the human element from all
Fantastic.
sides.
I gotta share this story with you that Ben and I, when I was in LA, Ben and I went for a walk, and this lady at the back came over with a dog, and she said, "I don't want to be weird, but are you the actor from American Born Chinese?" I said, "Yes, yes, this is the number one from American Born Chinese. His name is Ben Wang." And then she came with teary eyes, was telling us that how much she was touched by the show, how much her son was inspired by the show. And then Ben, being the sweet guy he is, he just said, "Would you like to call your son to come out?" His son is 11 years old. And then the son came out, and then he was so happy, and they had a long chat. So Ben and the boy had a long chat, and I was standing at the side with the mother, and the mother said, "Thank you very much for the show. It really hits home because yesterday, just someone in school told the boy to kill himself." So so all this, believing in yourself, and all of us were in teary eyes, I got to say, when we met them on the street. And they're not Asian. She's a first generation Romanian immigrant in LA, and her son is a second generation. And I was like, this is beyond race now. This is about uh, a journey of a human, of a growing up journey, that you grow to believe in yourself, going through all 81 trials from the journey to the West. You have to go through the trials to get to the scriptures. So this is something that I felt so lucky that I can be in a show that can warm people's heart, that can touch people's heart. And it's always a rewarding moment as an actor, I'm gonna say. Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing that. I Um, I'm touched just hearing how that touched people in a way where it defies what race, color you
Yeah.
are. Like what you said, it comes down to just being human and having those situations that you relate to. And that shows how much cross-cultural situations can connect to anyone if it's real. And thank you for sharing that.
Thank you.
Um, is there any motivational word or phrase that keeps you going?
Give it a try.
Give it a try.
Yeah,
That's
always give it a
good.
try. You never know what's your limit unless you try.
You give it a try.
Yeah, you just give it a try.
Thank you so much, Yan Yan. Where can we watch ABC?
You can watch it on Disney Plus. Disney Plus is on worldwide. Yeah. And
And
also now actually there is a first episode free on YouTube.
so we can also watch it on YouTube.
Just first episode. So if you
First
if you
episode.
think you like the show, just go on Disney Plus and watch the whole show.
And just binge on it.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thank
And
you.
we'll be watching more and more of what you do in the future.
Thank
Take
you.
care.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, Yan Yan.
Bye.